Good morning, friends. As you can see, the plot breakdown is gone from my wall. Finally, I can hang my calendar back up. So, what are we doing today? Hi, welcome to the vlog. I had really big plans for today. I was going to take you to this really cool bookstore that I promise I will take you to sometime, but it's just like an hour bus ride away. Seoul is really big, if you don't know. So it was like an hour away and it is really hot. Let me get my, it's 11:50 and it is currently 35 degrees outside and for some reason really bad air quality. So I didn't want to go outside. So I'm staying in, but this morning I was walking to the bus stop to go to the bookstore and then I was just like, too hot, and I turned around and I just went to a cafe by my house. So I finished a book that I needed to return to the library. It was called August Blue. Very short, very atmospheric. I enjoyed it, but it didn't like grip me. And so I'm striking that from the record. That doesn't count, but I have read 2 5-star reads in a row and I want to keep that momentum going. Last month and then kind of last week, I just read a bunch of meh books. I think also my problem is that I'm trying to read outside of my just like fantasy genre, trying to get back into the other genres that I used to read when I was younger. So sometimes like it's just a rhythm that I'm not into yet. My mind wanders and stuff like that. So that's just gonna take, like, I need to train myself to read certain kinds of books again. But actually, hold on. Speaking of reading different genres, in the beginning of this month, you will hear about it in my July reading wrap up, but I read a bunch of horror slash just like eerie fiction, and I hadn't read stuff like that in so long, and it was so different from what I normally read that it sparked something in me that I just wanted to start writing again. I haven't really written in quite a while. And that leads me to a message from our sponsor. Hit it.
Yes, hi, hello. I would like to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning platform and they have such a wide range of classes. They really care about learning by doing. So it's geared towards very visual learners, and I kid you not, they have things from how to do origami to how to do your taxes. Literally, I have used it for that as a freelancer. There's just such an incredible range. You can use it for fun if you are trying to learn a new hobby, but you can also use it for professional growth. They have a lot of things to do with growing your brand, UI, UX design, things like that. It's just a really great resource that I have actually contributed to. I have a class on basically how to start vlogging, the very beginning. Basically, how do you get over the hurdle of thinking that you're not good enough to start vlogging? But what I used it for recently, because I've been reading books that are a little bit outside of my usual genre, I found that I have become inspired to write again. My creative process, it comes in waves, but something about, especially I read a lot of horror last month, something about that just got me wanting to write again. And I turned to Skillshare to look up. They have so many creative writing classes and just classes about creativity and how to take that inspiration and actually funnel it into getting to the finish line. You know, I'm a big ideas person, but like, do I ever finish a project? No. There are classes for that. I just can't recommend Skillshare enough. And so the first 1,000 people to click my link in the description box will get a free month of Skillshare. And that means you have access to all of the classes on the platform. And yeah, I'm just a big fan. So information down below. Thank you as always to Skillshare. And let's get back to the video.
So yeah, that's been kind of exciting. I haven't actually written like full sentences. I've just been writing lists of words that have inspired me, and then that word will lead to another one. I just have, my notes app looks really weird. I have just lists upon lists of a lot of words that start with R and W for some reason. Those are the words I've been latching onto recently. I've just been having a really good time, so that's been great. But 5-star reads, as you guys might know, if you follow me on Instagram, One for My Enemy. Oh my God. So good. Looking back at it, I think if I were to try and actually be really nitpicky with it, I could pick out plenty of problems, but just the reading experience, going into it, not trying to be nitpicky, just experiencing it, it was so good. So if you don't know, One for My Enemy is written by the author who wrote the Atlas 6, and I didn't love the Atlas 6. She also wrote Alone with You in the Ether, which I liked, but I didn't love. Thank God I keep giving her chances, because One for My Enemy just took me. It is inspired by Romeo and Juliet, but it takes place in modern day New York City. There are witches, and there are these two families that kind of do underworld stuff like illegal magic, being trading and drug trafficking and stuff like that. They're at war with each other, and things just get really messy, and there is romance and just family feuds. I loved it. I loved it. Was I very confused by the ending? Yes. For a moment. There's an epilogue. So if you read the ending and you're like, what did I just read? Read the epilogue, okay? So, that 5 stars. I was so happy. I've just been reading blah, and then this came into my life, and I was like, thank you so much. And then right after that, I read Big Swiss, which it's a stretch to call it a 5-star, but it was a great time. I was laughing out loud. Actually, like, I was sitting in a cafe at a window seat, very visible, just sitting like hunched, shoulders shaking, trying to hold in laughter. This is about a woman who, she's in like her mid-40s. She moves to a tiny town, and she becomes like a transcriber for a sex and relationship therapist. So he sends her recordings of his sessions, and she transcribes them. They're anonymous, but it's a small town, so she like recognizes people's voices, right? So she like knows everybody's business. But she becomes obsessed with this one particular patient, I guess. And when they end up meeting in real life, it just devolves from there. It was so funny, so good, like just weird, so weird, but a great time. So we've got that, we've got this. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do next, guys? So many of you have been on my butt about reading. Where is it? I'm gonna yell at you. Give me a sec. Okay, so many of you have been on my butt about reading There Will Come a Darkness. I mentioned in my June reading wrap up that I read Garden of the Cursed, which is the first book that just came out in June. So hold your horses, because it's part of a series, so it's very much unfinished. But that is by an author named Katie Rose Poole, who I have never heard of before. And I enjoyed it. Garden of the Cursed, I had a great time, actually. A bunch of you guys were like, wait a minute, she has a finished trilogy. I loved it. No one's talking about it. You should read it. And so I said, yes, I should. I have been waiting. Actually, okay, I'm such a complainer. I've only been waiting for it for 10 days at the library, but I'm first in line. There is one copy. I'm the only person waiting, so whoever the hell, San Diego County Library, has been clutching this when clearly I'm waiting, shame on you. So you know what, this morning I bought it. The other two were already available, so I got these because they were available, thinking like, oh, the next one's gonna come in any day now, but I'm running out of time on these, so I just bought the first one. So I'm going to start that today. I have high hopes, and that's pretty much what we're going to do. Like I said, it's very, very hot. I had a lovely little morning with a coffee and an egg and apple sandwich. I recommend, if you like egg salad, put some apples in there for a little crunch. Starting now. I've talked your ear off, so now it's noon. Starting at noon, let's see what we can do, okay? There Will Come a Darkness. 5-star read. We're going on a marathon. Here we go.
Hi everyone, I'm all set up. I have my water ready. I have my little pillow fort ready to go. I'm going to read you the book description that comes just with Kindle, and I'm already excited. So it says, Leigh Bardugo's Six of Crows meets Kristen Kishore's Graceling with a dash of winter is coming in this show-stopping debut YA fantasy. So here's what it is about. For generations, the seven prophets guided humanity. Using their visions of the future, they ended wars and united nations until the day, 100 years ago, when the prophets disappeared. All they left behind was one final secret prophecy, foretelling an age of darkness and the birth of a new prophet who could be the world's salvation or the cause of its destruction. With chaos on the horizon, 5 souls are set on a collision course. Oh, I'm into it. A prince exiled from his kingdom, a ruthless killer known as the Pale Hand, a once faithful leader torn between his duty and his heart, a reckless gambler with the power to find anything or anyone, and a dying girl on the verge of giving up. One of them, or all of them, could break the world. Will they be savior or destroyer? Perfect for fans of Throne of Glass, Children of Blood and Bone, and An Ember in the Ashes. They're just naming every YA fantasy series at this point. But I'm into it. I really liked with the magic system and the world building in A Garden for the Cursed. The magic system, like the world building was there, but it wasn't really heavy. You could just really easily understand it, but it at the same time felt quite different and new. So I'm excited to see how she can take something where her book is being compared to so many things and make it different. Like I said, Garden of the Cursed, I loved how she described the city, like the actual setting seemed different from most fantasies. Like it was just, I'm excited. So here we go. The first book, according to my Kindle, is 484 pages. Oh, I see why they compare it to Graceling. There are kinds of magic and they're called the Graces, so that makes sense. Here we go. The first sentence. You want to know the first sentence? I guess it's going to be multiple POV. So this is Ephyria. In the moonlit room overlooking the city of faith, a prince knelt before Ephyria and begged for his life. Oh! I just woke up from the deepest nap that I absolutely needed, but I have reached exactly 25%. I'm on chapter 10, page 117. So far, it is not as fast-paced as Garden of the Cursed. Garden of the Cursed, the world was set up very quickly, very easily. We started our story immediately, but this, I'm waiting for everybody to get together. We've met each character. We know that their paths will cross, but it's just a matter of when, and I think it's gonna start very soon. But just as of right now, I don't understand what's going on quite yet. I have an idea of what the goal is, but I don't know. So it's just a little bit harder to get into because there are so many POVs. So I have hope, but so far it's not drawing me in quite as quickly. But like I said, they're about to all get together. So not giving up hope yet. Another outfit change and nap later. I'm at 42% of the way through and things are just barely starting to connect. I really feel like we could have done with a couple less POVs or making the POVs longer. We're just bopping back and forth so quickly that I'm not connecting to any one character in particular. I don't know, man. I'm gonna go get dinner with Kurt and then I'm gonna give it a good old try tonight. I think my attention span is really bad right now. I don't know why, so that's definitely affecting my reading experience, but hopefully with some food, with a little exercise, I'm gonna walk to his office. I'll come home and be ready to focus. Hello, it's a new day and I come bearing good news. Yes. So when I left you, I think I was at like 42% of the book, and I was saying that I really didn't connect with any of the characters, didn't really understand what was going on, but I felt like that was going to change, and it did. Around the like 60% mark is when I felt like it hit its rhythm, and I was like, okay, here we go. Let's tell the story. I still think that the kind of goal, I know what the goal is, but I wish that it was a little stronger. Basically, what is going on, without spoilers, is there are a couple different kingdoms, but within this world there are 6 prophetic cities or something. There are these 6 kind of very important cities, and there is this new kind of revolutionary figure who is taking control and trying to convince people that we need to get rid of anyone with a grace, so anyone with a magical power. The goal, it's like a multiple part goal of this book, right? We want to take this guy down because he's a nut job, and he also took over the kingdom of one of our characters who is a prince. So the prince character especially wants to go and reclaim his kingdom, right? But then we also have this prophecy in the background of there's going to be these 3 signs, these 3 people who are going to appear at the same time, and they're going to bring on this age of darkness, and it's either going to save us or it's going to end us. And then there is the search for the last prophet, who is like the key to, I don't really know. That's the thing, is like I get it, vaguely I get it, but it's not really clear what we're trying to do, and so it's harder for me to understand the actions of each character. It's becoming clearer, but I think it should have been clearer than me having to have read the entire first book, and I'm now at 15% of the second book. I will say that in the second book, the kind of humor, there's a new character introduced, and there's that kind of humor that I really liked from A Garden of the Cursed. So I'm excited for her to hopefully expand on that, because she writes comedy quite well. And so I'm excited for that. But yeah, I think it took to at least the 60% mark for me to really get it and to latch on to any of these characters. There's one POV in particular, I'm just gonna say it, the prince. I'm not connected to the prince in any way, shape, or form. He has like a little romance going on. I do not care. I so greatly do not care about the prince. All the other characters I'm interested in. So far, I definitely think A Garden of the Cursed is stronger, just in the fact that she could get so much done and so much world building and so much connection to characters in just that one book. This, because there's so many POVs, and some of these chapters, like some of these POVs, are literally 2 pages. They're very, very quick, and I just wish maybe she had written it not that way, because I'm like bouncing back and forth. I always forget that the prince exists, and so then when we get to his POV, I'm like, wait, where were we? So yeah, I have a lot of faith though in the second book, because now I feel like I get what's happening, everything seems more clear, and there's a very funny character. That is my update. I'm on page 70 of the second book, and I will check in a little bit later. What's this one called? As the Shadow Rises. Oh. Hi, I'm back with excellent news and a bug bite. I am now 80% of the way through the second book. The only reason I stopped is because we needed to go get dinner. I wanted to tear through it. I get it now, okay? I still don't like how many POVs there are, and I have stopped caring about multiple characters. I really only care about 2, all right? But I love their story so much that I'm willing to put up with the other characters. And we finally got, it was like at 70%, it was at 56%, I took a picture. At 56%, we finally get the lore fully explained to us about like the prophets and how they worked and all this stuff. So now everything clicks, and I get what we're trying to do, and I understand it, but I just wish that it didn't come. I understand kind of why it did, because we needed characters to be shocked and confused and whatever, but just as the reader to like not have a kind of the bigger picture until almost 60% of the way through the second book is kind of asking a lot, especially when it doesn't seem like the other characters are very engaging. Like I said, Anton and Jude are the only people I care about at this moment in time. So yeah, I'm gonna finish the book right now, and I'm gonna start the third one immediately. I need to charge my iPad because it's not available on Kindle. I have to read it on my iPad, like on Libby. So okay, I'm gonna do that right now. But yeah, good news is I get y'all, but I just think the first book was kind of a lot to push through. I'm glad that I had people telling me that it was good so that I would continue it. I don't know if I had just kind of borrowed it from the library on a whim if I would have pushed through, but the second book, especially like after 40 to 80%, I ate it up, and I'm ready to eat up the third book. Here we go. And good morning, we have made it. I finished the book, and I'm not gonna lie, if you're wondering, wow, Carrie, how did you finish 3 books in 3 days? I had to skim that last book so much. I'm so mad. So I've had time to think about it a little bit, and I really like the idea of the story. I thought that again, without spoilers, I thought that the construction, like the backstory with the prophets and with gods and with all of this stuff, I thought that was so cool. And as that was being explained, I really liked that. And I loved the journey that some of the characters went on. I loved the journey that all the characters went on. I just didn't need to be on that journey with every single one of them. So there are some characters that don't have a POV, like Hector, for example. I still enjoyed Hector as a character without having to have him have his own POV. You know, like seeing him through other people's POVs was enough for me to feel attached to him. And I wish she had done that with a couple more characters. Like if she had only chosen to share 2 POVs, or maybe done just like, what's the word? A general narrator, right? Where we bop around, but we don't necessarily have these like hyper-focused, just like jumping around kind of chapters. Because really I only cared about Jude and Anton, and I think that they were really the center of the story, even though technically there were supposed to be 5 and they all work together. It was really about Jude and Anton, let's be real. So I really liked I never skimmed their POVs, and I found that even skimming everyone else's, I understood what was going on. I didn't like what's the sister's name? Ephira. I just from the get-go had no connection to her, hated Ilya, whatever his name is. So for them, did not care. Skipped. I like skimmed so I know what's going on, but skip. Hassan, couldn't have cared less, buddy. I'm real sorry. I think at the end when we realize, that's a spoiler. I liked the sister Beru, but because all of her character was tied up with her sister, I also just didn't care. It was just frustrating that we put so much time into characters that, especially I think Ephira and Ilya, I think they could have been background characters. They didn't need as much time as they were given. And yeah, so I just wish like the pieces were there. I just wish it was structured differently. I would have really enjoyed the story a lot more. That being said, I really liked the second book. And I thought the ending was quite interesting how she did it. I like that no spoilers, but the last sentence of the book is about carrots. But yeah, so I think if I think back on it and I tell myself the story differently, I like it. It's just the way that it was written, didn't love. So if you liked it, I would still recommend Garden of the Curse, definitely. I think that there's one character, like, you know how Anton is pretty sarcastic and has like a couple funny lines? Take that, volume up to 11 for A Garden of the Cursed. It's very witty. So yeah, overall, liked reading it. I liked the story, but again, just the structure, that multiple POVs, again, some of those POVs were 1 page long. Just couldn't, So Anyway, thank you for recommending it though. Like, I get why people like it. So I would give it a try if it's available at your library and you're looking for a new fantasy. I thought that the structure of the world, the first book, it was like hard to understand, but once it's kind of explained, I liked it. And yeah, so now Katie Rose Poole is my most read author of the year so far. I've read 4 of her books. So that was the Age of Darkness trilogy. As I'm wrapping this up, want to give a shout out to the sponsor once again. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Once again, there is a link in my description box. The first 1,000 people to click it will get 1 month free of Skillshare, access to all the classes. Thank you to Skillshare. Take advantage, and let's wrap this up. And yeah, so let me know. I'm still, I guess, like 3 5-star books in a row was asking too much of the universe. So I'm still on the hunt for another 5-star read. Please leave your recommendations down below. And yeah, it's a very rainy day, so I'm not gonna do anything else. I have a lot of books. All my books came in at the library all at the same time. Ooh, any second now, probably sometime today, my hold for 3 Dark Crowns should come in. So I'm going to try and read that. I think it's, what do you call a 4-book series? A 4-book series, a quartet. I'm gonna read that next. Is gonna be my, I'm also reading The Will of Many. I've only read 13%. That's got some heavy-handed world building going on. I feel like it will pay off as the series continues, like having that rich background, but it's a little, there's like math involved. And so I'm gonna go back to reading that and then read 3 Dark Crowns. But let me know what you're reading, what I should be reading next, and I will see you guys next time. So thank you always. Catch you later. Go read A Garden of the Cursed.